Hey, everybody. Awesome. Okay, got the go ahead that y'all can hear me. So today we're going to be talking about customer communication, specifically how to maximize your customer's first purchase. Just wanted to thank y'all for coming on real quick. I know this is a chunk out of your day. I really appreciate it. And I think this talk will be beneficial for you guys and for us. So just a brief introduction. My name is Rachel. I'm a member of Plick's CSM team. Specifically, I'm a marketing strategist. And just a quick fun fact about me is that I've lived in 3 different countries, Canada, the US, and most recently England, but I am back in America now. So just kind of a brief look at what we're going to talk about today. We're going to start with what is initial marketing and just dive a little deeper on that. We're going to move into how IQ puts your initial marketing together, which is a 3-step process. Then we're going to move down to how IQ can automate your initial campaign. This slide is super important in making your life significantly easier. Then we're going to move into campaign best practices and what you do next to get the ball rolling. At the end, we will have a short Q&A. So if you guys have any questions as I kind of move through the presentation, feel free to throw them in the group chat. I will see them and I will try to answer as many as I can. If I don't get to it, obviously feel free to reach out to me after the presentation. So to start with, what is initial marketing? Initial marketing is basically the first communication a customer receives from your studio, otherwise known as the first impression. The same way when you introduce yourself to someone and that first impression is so important, your first initial communication is equally as important for your relationship between you and your customer. The thought process behind initial marketing is that if this is your customer's only purchase, how can you ensure that it's bringing in enough revenue to cover the cost of the shoot and make it worth it to continue shooting that student or that school? It's also a way to guide customers to purchase the options you want them to. Obviously, we all know we'd much prefer they'd purchase a premium package than a single 8x10, and initial marketing really helps guide them to these options on their own accord. So moving along, just a brief kind of intro to what your initial marketing can look like from the pre-order to proof stage. That first email on the left is an abandoned cart email. It's not necessarily, obviously, the first email gets sent. It's actually triggered by customers leaving products in their carts. It's a quick, simple, don't let your cart get away, and it's just a friendly reminder that they left something there. In terms of which email you would send first, if you shoot pre-order, your pre-order emails, we typically start them about a week before. You can alert your students that picture day is coming. And if you have a call to action, a discount or a promotion, that would be there as well, in addition to the link to the gallery. And you can see here that there's a reminder for 1 week from picture day and 1 day away from picture day. Here we have an example of what your proof emails could look like. They announced that their students' photos are now online. It gives them a direct link to their gallery, and it also does actually show them that primary image on the left side. You see the graphics across the top. These are kind of studio curated. When you talk to your marketing strategist, you discuss things like design and if you have branding, and then we can actually design graphics for your email. So we're going to move into now how IQ creates your initial marketing. Like I briefly mentioned, we use a 3-step process to kind of simplify it down. First, we identify your workflow, then we create your call to action, and finally, we determine your timeline. So talking a little more about identifying your workflow, some things that you ask yourself and that we will ask you when we have this conversation is, do you offer pre-order, proofs, or both? This affects not only the timeline of the campaign, but perhaps the call to action that we would use in the email. We would also ask what your typical turnaround time from your shoot to your photos online and available is. We know that the sooner you get your photos online after the shoot, the better it is for revenue. According to our data, if you put your photos up within 24 hours of the shoot, the customers spend around 25% more on their photos. It's really handy to get mom and dad when they remember how much effort they put into getting little Jimmy to look nice for the day, and they want to reap those rewards. It's also helpful to know if you shoot green screen, because this is something we can advertise in your marketing. We can show some of the background options and kind of just put a spotlight on those. We also like to look at if you bulk ship to the school, send straight to home, or give parents the option, because again, it just kind of helps us create a potential promotion for you. The second and arguably most important step of your initial marketing is creating your call to action. This incentivizes early orders, tells your customer what they should buy, and rewards those who spend. We create your offer based on your average order, with the obvious goal being to increase. For example, if your current average order on underclass is 42, we wouldn't start a discount or a promotion until minimum, say 45 or 50. And it's just, incremental increases. The customer doesn't notice them, but your bottom line does. We're also looking to add value for your customer, not necessarily just discounts. And I'll kind of explain more what that means through the images below. It also creates a sense of urgency. I'm sure you guys all get emails that say 1-night sale, 2-night sale, and it's just a way to kind of, push mom and dad into ordering just that much faster. So some questions to ask yourself when we're creating your call to action is, do you want to offer something additional, like a free 8x10 or a free magnet, or do you want to highlight an existing special feature of your higher priced packages? So some of our most popular and most common calls to action are free shipping during the first 2 weeks, free 8x10 with a minimum price spend, or highlighting a special item included in packages above X amount. So these two options are kind of shown in the images below. If you look at the one on the left that says early bird special, that's the option of kind of an additional free print, or in this case, a digital download with a minimum. So the customers feel like they get almost a buy one, get one kind of feeling. And on the right, the digital download is actually already included in the higher priced packages. And you're highlighting that if you get a higher price package, it includes the digital download. You don't have to pay a separate fee. So that's actually us taking your existing price sheet and creating a marketing campaign, an advertisement around it, an incentive without having to offer something additional. After that, we like to determine your timeline. We ask, if you shoot pre-order or just proofs. Obviously, if you do both, expect your initial campaign to look a little longer. Is it for seniors, underclass, sports, etc.? If it's for seniors, we might consider it being worth adding an extra email or an extra SMS, just because they, typically do spend more on average than underclass or sports. We also like to look at how many emails or SMS do you think your studios and your customers typically expect from you. This is especially important because I know we have customers in the US, we have customers in Canada, and just a fact for you is the Canadian customers tend to appreciate a few less emails than American customers. The tolerance is different. So that's why we talk to you and we do tailor this to your studio. So just some general recommendations that we make. If you're doing pre-order and proof marketing, we typically recommend your campaign to run around 21 days, include 5 to 6 emails and 1 SMS. We do have the capability to text your customers. However, we like to note that, tolerance for emails like this is pretty high. People are a lot more sensitive when it comes to things coming onto their phone, coming into their personal messages. So we do try and kind of limit that 1 SMS to be between the first and second proof email, just announcing that their photos are online and giving them a direct gallery link. I'd also like to note that the first 7 days of that 21-day campaign would be before the event date to highlight the pre-order option. If you do proof-only marketing, we recommend between 10 and 14-day campaign with 3 or 4 emails and 1 SMS. That SMS again being, a quick, here your gallery is online, here's the direct link. It's easier for parents to order from their phone. Their wallets are typically already attached to it than it is, on an email. However, like I said, we don't want to overstay our welcome in their text messages. So that's kind of an overall general outline. I'm going to go a bit more into detail on kind of the customization that you can do with our emails and that we do for you. So don't freak out if the next few slides look like a lot of information. It's things that we talk through with you and we do ultimately set on our end. So now we're going to talk about how IQ can automate your initial campaign. Blueprint has the ability to pull loads of different kinds of data from your jobs, including at the subject level and at the job level. So data that we can put within your email includes, we can pull students' first and last name. We can pull the yearbook deadline date, which is really handy. We can pull if you have a retake date or a makeup date. We can also pull online code and subject IDs, which is very popular because studios tell us all the time that before this, they would get constant calls because a child would never bring home their online code and they needed to get it to Access. This way, the email actually pulls that code directly and it's in the parent's inbox. So there's no really kind of lost space in between, which should hopefully lower the amount of calls that you guys get for, minute little things like that end up taking a lot of time. We can also pull your subject's primary image. We find using the student's primary image in the email makes the parents more likely to click on the gallery. And most importantly, we can pull the gallery link. So we don't have to tell them to go to a different website. It's one click within the email and they're in their personal gallery. Then we move on to kind of talking about how we can trigger the release of an email. We can do it based on the event date, based on a yearbook due date. So you can make an entire campaign around a yearbook due date deadline and just target, a week before the yearbook due date, 1 day before the yearbook due date reminders. Another really important one that we use is the after abandoned cart trigger that I mentioned previously. This automatically sends emails to customers and to parents who have left things sitting in their cart without purchase. It's just a friendly little reminder. It's only one. We don't spam parents with this, but it's a little nudge. Also really important is our manual release feature. This actually gives a lot of control back to our studios. So like I mentioned previously, if you get your photos up within the first 24 hours of the shoot, parents are more likely to spend 25% more on their photos. So if you want to be able to do it right away, you don't have to contact us. Manual release is something on your end. You can release the email. It takes one click and all the emails go out. We can also target who receives an email. Subjects with group images is one way that we can go to. So if you do team pictures for sports, it comes in handy there. Team pictures for dance. If you do not composite photos, my apologies. But if you do any kind of group image, that's a really good way to target. We can also target specifically subjects who have not chosen their yearbook photo. So when you heard me talking about your yearbook due date deadline campaign, you might think, oh, I don't want to bother students who've already picked. We don't have to. We can just target the students who have not chosen that yearbook photo. We can also target between buyers and non-buyers with images and without images. That way, once students buy, we don't have to bother them with follow-ups and reminders. We can also target gallery guests, which is a really cool feature that Blueprint offers. If you don't collect data, or if you don't have all the data, or if grandma and grandpa decide to go into it, to get into the gallery, you have to type in an email, and Blueprint actually logs that email and saves it to the job. So any follow-up marketing will go to that email, even if it wasn't attached to the subject initially. So kind of moving forward, it's just an example of what these things look like in practice. On the left, you'll see a pre-order email with pulled info, and we pulled the student's first name, the event date, and the pre-order link. On the right side, you'll see that we pulled for a proofing email, that primary image, the student's first name, their yearbook selection due date, their online code, and their gallery link. So these emails really are customizable, and it's a great way to make campaigns scalable. So you don't have to constantly be emailing me with a new yearbook date. If you just put it in the job originally, then it automatically gets pulled into these emails. This is kind of an example of the triggers in practice. If you look at the left, that's a full pre-order to proof trigger example. So that first abandoned cart email is triggered by the abandoned cart trigger. The pre-orders are triggered by the event date. So you put the event date, the day of shoot in each individual job, and then the emails know to go out X amount of days before that event date. You also see that first proof email is manual release. So as soon as your photos are uploaded, you are ready to go and you can send that email without delay. And then the follow-ups are X amount of days after custom date 1, which is a date, again, you can set per job after you know the first day of release. If you look on the right, we have a senior portraits online campaign, which is a good example of our after subject data update feature. This is really, really popular for seniors because I know a lot of you shoot, 3 seniors at a time that come into your studio. This just means that, so you have all student subject data already uploaded. A student comes in, you put their photos in, you hit sync, it'll send only them an email saying that their photos are ready, and it'll do it every time for every student after that. Under that, you can also just see some examples. We can still send on specific dates, which comes in handy during holiday season, Black Friday, Mother's Day, kind of the things that are more cut and dry. So just some general campaign best practices. We highly recommend you email your customers as soon as your images are ready. Again, that manual release feature is really great for that. We also think you should offer your best promotion in your initial marketing and incentivize their first purchase. You want those that actually take advantage and listen to feel like they got a good deal, not that they got slighted when Black Friday comes around and you offer a new deal. After the initial email, you should automate your campaign as much as possible. We're really big on set it and forget it. You should be able to, once that campaign is attached and that manual release email has gone out, you should not have to worry about, did my follow-ups go out? When are they going out? It's really easy to just go in and look and it's already set. You should also utilize job level data to make your campaign scalable. Like I mentioned previously, if we can pull in different yearbook due dates, we only need one campaign and you can use that across any school that needs their yearbook photos chosen. So what do you do next with all of this information? You should reach out to your CSM team for recommendations and to have us bring your marketing to life. So if you look to the right, this is our CSM team. The top 3 in the photo are Kyle, Caitlin, and Kaylin, and they are your CSMs. They can answer any questions, obviously about marketing, but more about your workflow or how you're going to shoot for fall or your price sheets. And then the bottom 3 are your marketing strategists. It's Susie, myself, and Adriana. Any marketing questions you may have, any campaigns you may want to set up, we're your girls. So really quickly before we wrap up, I just wanted to plug next week. Andrew is coming on to talk about the power of a checklist, ensuring photo day success with these simple steps from IQ. This presentation will be super handy for everybody shooting come fall season, which is everybody here. And then thank you, everybody, for coming to my talk and taking the time out of your day. And now I believe I have some time for some questions. So I'm just going to